Hello, Missoula. It's me again, Tyler, and this show is going to be basically talking about traumatic brain injuries, but I'm trying to inspire people out there that are having brain injuries, and I'm here with Jim Mickelson, who is he's basically like a leader of support groups in town and of other things in town and things to do with traumatic brain injuries. And we're gonna talk a little bit about a brain injury and how we both got our brain injury and where we've come from and how many people out there actually have brain injuries. And Jim, you were telling me that people get a brain injury every 15 seconds?
Every 15 seconds, one happens.
Oh, wow. And last year, we heard a lot about the breast cancer, and they did have a big amount, 176,000 women got it, and 1,500 men got it. But we didn't hear anything about brain injuries unless you were a family member. And basically, last year there was 1.5 million people that got a brain injury, and y'all didn't hear anything about it. Now there's people that live with brain injuries. I know like 3 or 4 people here in Missoula, probably more than that have a brain injury who didn't know they had a brain injury, and then they went to the doctor and some people had told them some symptoms to look for, and they started noticing that like one of the factors that your memory will start, you won't remember things. And what's some other symptoms, Jim?
Well, there's balance problems that are real recognizable. Balance problems. The memory problem is real common memory. They have trouble remembering their friends and people that they've known forever, and then they have trouble recalling them at one point. They have problems with vision problems, balance problems, and those are some of the common things to look for. Headaches. There's a whole list of symptoms.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and start with Jim. Jim, how did you get your brain injury, and kind of give me a step-by-step of how bad your injury was and like what happened that you noticed and where you have come from and how long it's taken to get here.
I was a full-time firefighter for Missoula Rural Fire. I was an engineer, MTD, and in 1991 I was called out to a fire, called in my pager from home about 3 in the morning. About 4 in the morning they needed some more water, and the fire was up at Gallagher Cedar Products at the Y. So I volunteered to take the tanker down to fill it up at the Y across from at the hydrant across from the airport. I proceeded and filled up the tanker and started back to the fire. I only got 150 feet from the fire hydrant where the railroad crossing was, and a train hit my fire truck. The lights were out for me. I was knocked out. I was in a coma, semi-coma for about a week at St. Pat's, and I didn't want to live. I just kept telling my wife, just pull the plug. I was conscious enough to know that I was not a happy camper. They put me over to community rehab when I could breathe on my own and swallow on my own. And from community rehab, I knew that they wouldn't let me pull out my IVs and stuff because I pulled them out twice, my IVs and catheters. And so I still didn't want to live at community. I quit eating. I lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
They put in a peg tube. That's stomach feeding tube. And I ate off the feeding tube for a few weeks. There was lots of events in that coming back around. I was impatient. I said, hey, when I got to go to the bathroom, I got to go. So I would call to the nurse, push my button for a nurse, and they might be busy. They wouldn't get there for a few minutes, so I got impatient. I couldn't walk, so I'd fall out of bed and fall on the floor, and I'd make my way out to the nurse's station, and they would look down at me like, what are you doing here? I said, well, I got to go to the bathroom. So they'd help me up and go to the bathroom. They got tired of me falling out of bed, so they put my bed on the floor. Said, now try to fall out of that. So it was 2 or 3 weeks later that I looked out the window and said, boy, it's nice out here. For some reason there, I decided to live again. And so they give my bed back, but they said, now, if you stay in bed, well, you'll be okay. Well, I wouldn't stay in bed. So then they made me wear this Houdini jacket. And I don't know if you know what a Houdini jacket is. That's a straight jacket, essentially.
Yeah.
That tied your hands so I couldn't let the bed down.
Like tie you like this?
Yeah. So I hated that damn straight jacket. And so I promised them, I said, okay, I'll stay in bed until a nurse comes. Just don't make me wear that jacket to bed. So nighttime was the only time they had trouble with that. Because I'd wake up in the middle of the night and had to go to the bathroom, and I didn't want to wait for a nurse. I wanted to get the job done. So I went through all the phases of coming back around. One day, Dr. Ross come in and he says, and what's your name? My name is Jose Mayonnaise. Jose, are you married? Yeah, I'm married. You got kids? Yeah, I got 6 kids. I'm married to Rita, and I got 6 kids. Well, Jose, do you work? Yeah, I'm a well driller. And he asked me a few more questions, and then he left. My wife come over to me, and she tapped me right here in the chest and says, all right, now, who is this Rita? And I want to know where the other 2 kids are, because we got 4 boys, not 6. And she says, I want to know how long you've been drilling wells. You've been a fireman for years. So when you have a brain injury, your mind plays tricks with you.
Yeah.
It imagines, and I don't know where it comes from, but imagines, if you can imagine being a child and having a vivid imagination,
Yeah.
your brain can do that. You probably went through similar things.
Yeah.
And at any rate, it took me about 3 months to learn how to walk and talk. They took me home the first couple times in a wheelchair, and they said, we don't know if he's going to learn to walk or not. And I had built this beautiful home up in the hill above the airport. There was 10 steps up to the main level, and I had a sunken living room, and firemen come and carried me up in the wheelchair, and I got to spend a day there, but I couldn't even get down to my sunken living room to look at the view. I was mad. So when I went back to rehab, I was more determined than ever to learn how to walk, and I did that. It took a long time to learn how to walk.
How long?
Well, I was 3 months in rehab.
Wow.
And then I was about a year of outpatient rehab. And there was so many different things, you know. I did fall down the stairs a couple times. I lost my glasses. I was forever doing something weird. I couldn't stand too much excitement. I had four boys. 2 or 3 of them were teenagers at the time, and if you can imagine a house full of teenagers, my wife would get in argument with them, and I would just bow out and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go take a walk."
Didn't you say that one time you chased one of them with the fire pit?
Yeah, one of my boys was arguing with me, and I chased him outside, and I was chasing him around the yard with a frying pan in my underwear. So there's lots of stories that you can go there.
Oh yeah.
My therapy was working in my yard. I had lived on a hillside home and had 4 acres of rocks. I picked rocks, tons and tons of rocks. I learned how to run my lawn tractor, my 4-wheeler. So I'd load up the load of rocks and haul them over to my property line, pile them up. I built a rock wall about 4 foot wide, 8 feet wide and 4 foot high and about 300 foot long.
Dang.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds of rocks.
Dang, that was your therapy?
It was very good therapy. It's one of my feelings that the reason why our prison system doesn't work anymore is they've done away with the rock busts and chain gangs. And nowadays in prison, you get a color TV and a weightlifting set and
nice bed.
nice bed. You're too many comforts.
Yeah, way too.
To me, there has to be a reason that you don't want to go in prison
Yeah.
because you don't want to bust rocks.
Yeah. I
Well,
agree.
the bust rocks had a good therapy that it allowed people to get those frustrations out. So, and as I progressed along, I got offered to go to work, and I said, no, if I can't be a fireman, I don't want to go to work. I'll volunteer. And that's when I got started volunteering at Community Medical Center, chatting and discussing. I figured if they can get me better, I can help others get better. So I went to work volunteering at Community Medical Center, and then I got the brain injury group started. And we had the monthly brain injury group going for a couple of years, and I had friends that had brain injuries, but they didn't want to go to the monthly one. They wanted a higher functioning group, so they asked me if I'd start a support group for higher functioning people. So that's when I started the Puzzle Club. The Puzzle Club started off with just 4 or 5 of us meeting for coffee, and then it progressed and got bigger and bigger, and to where now it's awesome.
Yeah.
We meet every week from 9 till 10 at Paradise Falls, and it's all brain injury survivors. We don't care how they got their brain injury, if they got it from stroke or aneurysm or shaken baby syndrome or
somebody beat 'em
injuries.
up.
Yeah. We've had gals that have fallen from horses in 28 years and 35 years, so long time.
We got a long range, a lot of range.
A lot of range. All the way down to where we've had, our newest guy was injured here in Missoula last March, I think.
The one, the truck driver?
No, he was injured in a car accident here in town.
That one guy with the, I don't know his name, but it started with the G.
Mark.
Okay. Well, what's that new guy that he was a truck driver and he got hit by another truck? Do you remember his name?
Oh yeah, and he's gone back, I believe, to Derby. That was Travis.
Travis, yeah.
And he was injured in Texas. His truck, the truck jackknifed in front of him, and so he took the choice of hitting the trailer ended up with a brain injury, and the truck driver survived, so that's good.
Yeah, and his whole left side, didn't it? Every bone.
He had lots of breaks.
Yeah, he had a lot of breaks. And his face came off and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But he was doing good. He was doing good. I'm hoping he's gonna watch this, and people are gonna get inspired from this. And I'll go ahead and say my story now. It's not as
Yeah, what happened to you?
not as long as yours, but I was really fortunate. Well, let's see. I was living in Houston, selling the Houston Chronicle, the newspaper, and then I moved to LA to sell the LA Times for 6 months, and then I moved to Austin, Texas on June 1st, 2004, and then 26 days later, I hydroplaned on the way home from work, and I smacked into a tree, and I died for like 20 minutes, and they resuscitated my heart and told me I actually was on induced coma because my body was running like a 104 temperature, and they put me on ice and all this stuff, and they didn't want me to wake up, so they kept me asleep. And then about 15 days later, I woke up, and I vaguely remember what happened, but on the 21st of, let me tell you, that was the 26th of June, and the 21st of July, so almost a month. I left the hospital, and the doctors told me, you're going to be paralyzed for the rest of your life, and you'll probably not be able to do anything ever again. Well, I was still married at the time, and my mother, she lived in Houston, and I was living with a girlfriend. Could y'all get me something to drink, please? And in Austin, Texas, and then my mom knew that I wouldn't want to go back with my ex-wife, live with her, so she told the nurses in the hospital that she would take me to her house because my sister and my sister's husband lived with my mom, and they could, pick me up and take care of me and do rehab with me and stuff, rehabilitation. And my girlfriend, she was like 5 foot and under 100 pounds, and she wouldn't be able to lift me and help me and everything. So, she did move to Houston because I was now living in Houston, and she had an apartment, and I've told my mom, that I want to go back with my girlfriend, and she said, well, you're going to have to learn how to walk, feed yourself, use the bathroom, and take a shower. And within about a month, I figured out how to walk and do all that stuff that the doctor said, oh, you'll never be able to do that. And then thank you, sir. And then, what was I saying? See, that's the thing, you forget what you're saying sometimes.
But your girlfriend did move to Houston?
Oh yeah, she moved to Houston, and I figured out how to walk, use the bathroom, and that was a task in itself. I mean, because I was 21 and I felt really embarrassed that I had to wear diapers again and had to be fed with a spoon, and I had to be picked up and carried room to room, and my brother's wife was there doing all that, and I felt really odd, so that just made me want to do it more and more. And I would get up and walk with the walker, but what I would do is pick it up in the air and walk, and try to get my balance, and I would get yelled at many times for picking it up and walking.
Did you fall?
Yeah, I would fall over and over again and hit my head on the wall, make a big boom, and people would come running over and looking at me. I have a big lump on my head, and as you know, people with brain injuries are 8 times more likely to get another brain injury than normal average day people that don't have a brain injury. So every time I fell and hit my head, everybody was worried about me because I could get another brain injury. But I would just tell myself, no pain, no gain. And I would get up and do it again, and by golly, I started walking everything within a month, and I moved in with my girlfriend, and I'd crack her up because I fell a couple times in the shower, and I'd grab like the shower curtain and the whole rod and everything would come down, and I'd fall and bust my butt and get water all over the place, and she would come in and she would just be laughing hysterically about peeing on herself. And then I always try to make people laugh, and I could have gotten up and gotten the shower curtain, put it up and everything on my own, but I would call her in there to see me and laugh. And like one time when I first come up to Montana, I had been away since I was 3, and I wasn't used to the snow, and I moved up in November of 2004, and I fell in the snow, and that made her laugh. And I was washing, I had my earrings in, and I was washing my ears with those sponges that girls use, and it got caught in my ear, and I was pulling down, and I couldn't get off, and it was stuck, and I knew to just take the earring out, but I called her in there, and she started laughing then. And one time I had stuck my finger into this TV because the power button was gone, so I stuck my pinky in there to try to turn it on, and my pinky got stuck, and I knew all I had to do was just pull really hard, but I would call her in there just to make her laugh, and I had to get her to laugh, and I'd be like, hey, what, you could try to help me instead of laughing at me, and I was really serious, and to me, I like to make people laugh, and I'm a real character, and I'm a real good motivator now. Now that I've been through this injury and been through being paralyzed and talking disorder. I know I sound funny. I've heard myself on the TV and stuff. Now it's just like after you've been through everything that I've been through, and people staring at you in the wheelchair and then with a walker, just to let y'all know, whenever you see somebody in a walker or in a wheelchair or with a walker, don't stare at them or talk about them, because you don't know what they've been through and where they've come. For all he's using a walker because he was paralyzed before, and it says to be inspired because I'm trying to inspire other people out there in youth to start talking about what they've been through and
Plus, you don't know that it may be you in that position. It may be you that is in a wheelchair or walker in the next time.
mm,
So it's really important. I agree with you. You don't patronize them. You just want to respect them that they're trying their best to get along with the tools that they have.
yeah. Because you don't know where they've come from, what they've been through. You don't know anything about anybody. I mean, there's like a guy that goes to St. Pat's and he's got a computer that he's got to type for that thing to speak. What's his name?
Jason Burrell.
Yeah, and he's come a long way from what I hear. I've seen a lot of people come a long way through a lot of the stuff they've come a long way, and it's to me, I tell them, I'm proud of them, and they inspire me. That there's tons of people.
That is the big advantage of the support groups, is you have a support that each person gives a support to the other one. Sometimes they're lower, and you go to the support meeting to get support from somebody higher.
Mm-hmm.
But higher people also get support from the lower people, saying, "Hey, boy, I'm glad I was there one time myself, and I'm glad I moved out of that."
Yeah.
If we don't all move on, then things get pretty bleak. Especially with the nationwide as many, because the big thing we see with brain injuries is they last a lifetime.
Yeah.
They've never had, to the doctor's knowledge, they've never had a brain injury that has had 100% healing yet. They learn how to get by, like I'm learning how to get by and you're learning how to get by. And as you go along, you'll sharpen your skills of making the little things that don't work disappear, and you lift up those things that do work.
Mm-hmm.
You keep lifting those up, and at some point you're going to say, I don't even hardly remember that I had a brain injury.
Yeah, I
And
wish
that's
I
the
could
hope
say
anyway.
that. See, I could have easily laid down and just given up on life and said, man, the doctors know what they're doing. They get paid the big bucks. If they say I'll never walk or be able to do anything again, then they must, be right. But I chose not to do that. I chose to say no. I'm gonna get up, and I know what God can do, and I believe and trust God. I was raised that way, and my mom said I have the mind of Christ every morning, and I can get up and do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I said that day in and day out, and
that's the optimism that helped you get better.
yeah,
The fact that you trusted that you could get better some, but with God's help you can get better a lot.
oh yeah, and I owe a lot of my sister and my mother and my brother's wife Michelle and my ex-fiance, my girlfriend at the time, Becca. All of these women were helping me in therapy, because I wasn't in therapy. I had no insurance. I had no Medicaid, and I was doing my own stuff, like trying to walk and whatnot, but they would do, therapy that they found off the internet every day with me. My mom would pick me up, and she was the one to get me to take the first steps without a walker or anything, I owe a lot to a lot of women in my life, and I owe a lot to a lot of people, even the ones that said no, do it yourself. And whenever they said that kind of stuff, where just do it yourself or see if you can do it, that would build up inside of me, and I'd say, you know what, fine, I'm gonna show you I can do it. And carrying cups with liquid, canned drinks or whatever it is, or a plate of food. I shake a lot, and I didn't want to make a mess. But if they weren't gonna do it, then by golly, I'll make a mess. I'll try to do it, and then if I drop it, we'll see. That's why I didn't want to do it, but because they told me to try, that made me try, and that's why I owe a lot of thanks to a lot of people out there, and the ones that are here in Missoula that I don't know, I'm not going to name them all because I don't know, I forget a lot of names. So I just thank everybody that's helped me in what I'm doing, I hope I am inspiring some people, because I'm gonna try to start getting sponsors and start traveling the United States, and telling people about brain injuries and encouraging people with injuries that you can do it. The doctors don't know what they're talking about. That man upstairs is my doctor, and you can do all things through him. So as long as you know that, and you know it without a doubt, you can't just say, God can heal me, but I'm just going to sit here and wait for him to heal me. He's not going to heal anybody that's not going to put effort and try and, give up on life and say, well, I'm just waiting for God. He won't help that.
I like the old saying that God helps those who help themselves.
Amen.
And he does so much to help other people move along. And if you can just take that little bit of fire that you can get from reading your Bible, or from associating with people who believe that this is helping you, then you can take that and just lift it higher and higher. There's no end to it.
Amen.
So I like your idea that other people have inspired you, and you're doing the same thing.
I hope so.
By inspiring other people. It's hard to say how far this show will go.
Yeah.
Towards inspiring people. I've gotten a puzzle club started, and now we have a university put out a puzzle club video, and now it's on national market. So
yeah, I hope this tape goes a long distance, and I hope that people sponsor me. And this is only in Missoula, so I'm gonna have to have people in Missoula come together and sponsor me, and so that way I can get around the United States and go to colleges and carry on, like, I don't know, what would you call it, conference, or
yeah, there's information conferences that are, and that's one of the things that I believe, that prevention is really the only cure for brain injury. And the interesting thing is, most brain injuries are preventable, most of them. And so, I go out with Becca Roberts in the community, and we do heads-up classes for the schools. In the past, we've tried to do 20 to 30 schools a year. where we teach the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th graders, and it's about the sophomore in high school, where we teach them about prevention tools and ideas to prevent them from having injuries. Try to get them into the habit of doing the right thing. You know, you can't tell kids that you can't tell them, hey, don't drink, because they're going to do their own thing a little bit. But what we can try to do is get them into the habit of making good, sound decisions. The choices they make can save their lives or keep them from having injuries. We try and teach them to make habits. Say, okay, I'm going to go out drinking. If I go out drinking, here's my keys. But if you're going to choose to do that, don't drink, don't drive.
Yeah.
Don't drive, you know, if that's one of the choices they make. Other kids in Montana, we have notorious for weather changing. We get, in the summertime, we get a flash flood that'll wash logs and stuff into their favorite swimming hole. Teach them the habit that feet first time. Go step in the water and check it out and make sure there's no stumps that are washed into that swimming hole. We have, every year in Missoula, we have a kid or two that gets a neck injury diving off the bridges here into the river because they don't know what's in the water.
Yeah.
Or they make a miscalculation. I recommend that if they're going to dive, then they go to the university or somewhere and dive where they know the depth and know the conditions. Get used to doing that.
Yeah.
Don't go out and jump off the top of a bridge. Some of them are bad news.
And isn't there brain injuries from kids riding on bikes without helmets?
A great many. The National Bicycle has reduced the bicycle injuries by nearly half by enforcing the helmet laws. Kids that have wrecks on bicycles have a 50% better chance of surviving a brain injury with a helmet. It's awesome. If they'll just wear it. I had the policy at my house that if they're riding their bicycles or skateboards, when you leave the garage, you have a helmet on.
You know, I know that when I was a kid, that helmets weren't so cool, and I don't know now, but you know, just go out and find a cool looking helmet, and who cares, you know, if they think it looks stupid or whatever, it could save your life. And I personally I don't want anybody to have to go through what I've gone through. That's why I'm making this film. I don't wish this on anybody. So if you think you look like a dork wearing a helmet, just think of what happens if you could fall off and get a brain injury. So what if somebody thinks you look like a dork? You're gonna look a lot more like a dork when you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Believe me. You're gonna feel ashamed, and people look at you and stare at you and point at you and talk about you. And now that's why I used to be a quiet kid, but you know, they always say it's those quiet ones you gotta be careful of, and I know why now, because once they start talking, they won't shut up. And that's me. I just talk now, and it's because I've been through so much. Y'all just don't understand what I've been through in a year and a half. You're like, oh yeah, I know you were paralyzed and this and that, but I lost everything I had, and I felt like the king of the world when I had my accident. I was in Austin. I was making good money. I had a nice apartment, a nice car, a nice car, nice clothes, nice things. I was making a lot of money, and now it wasn't a good way of making money. That's probably why the good Lord saved my life, but He allowed me to have the accident because I wasn't going about things right. First, I was living with another woman when I was still married. Now, that was wrong. And then, that girl that I was going out with, I ended up proposing, and then we broke up. We broke up, but we had a son together, and that's why I'm still here. And I fell in love with that woman, but when I fell in love with her, I actually fell in love with everybody. It's so weird. I fell in love with the whole world, and that's why Tyler's been inspired, and I talk about my theory on theology because I have a different view about God and stuff, and how we all need to just come together as one and put them.
A different agenda now.
Yeah.
That's really important. Hopefully the theory is that you've learned how to avoid those mistakes so you don't make the same mistake again.
Yeah.
So that you learn how to correct your mistakes and live a little better now. And it sounds to me like you'll be great, if you keep the reason why you're here in front of you all the time, that you're here because God allowed you to live again and share your ideas with the world.
Mhm.
You'll do great.
Amen. I hope so, man. I hope so. I just wish that you or somebody here in Missoula would say, you know what, I would like to hear what Tyler would have to say about God or whatever. I'm not preaching, or I'm not a preacher, I'm not a teacher, but I've just been inspired a different way, and I've been pushed away from my entire family and friends because they think I'm going the wrong way.
And that's true with a lot of survivors, that their families don't understand where they're coming from. They don't understand what process they got to go through to get back on top of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's real common that family and friends push them away because they don't understand them.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel why one of our ideas of support groups have done so well, because it's people that have common interests getting together, sharing ideas. They know why you talk funny, or they know why you look funny or walk funny, and they understand, and they can give you the emotional support that you need to help you overcome those.
Mm-hmm.
I've said a lot of things with the people I visit with in rehab. Every one of them needs to get their own little network of support. If their family and friends don't offer them enough support, then they need to branch out and look at support groups and look at other people that have the experience that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the support groups are such a great tool for that. Brain injuries are one of a kind.
Yes, they are.
They don't have the same conditions as a leg injury or breast cancer or something like that.
Every injury is different.
Brain injury is different. I give you the example that I saw on the Alzheimer's site was a picture of a brain cell. And they talk about that each of us has about 100 billion brain cells. And each brain cell has a finger of contacts. And they figure we have about 100 trillion contacts.
Wow.
So it's easy to understand why every brain injury is different. when you talk about 100 trillion options,
Yeah.
that's why they're different. You know, you may have brain injury like I have. It's a brain injury, but it can be totally different because the different connections are shared.
Yeah. You know what I've come to realize is that I read this thing saying that when you get a brain injury, your mind goes to a 5 or 4 year old's mentality of thinking. So, say I was 4 year old, and I'm 23 now, and my accident happened a year and a half ago. That would make me like 5.5 years old, stuck in a 23-year-old body. So people expect me to do what a 23-year-old would do, but I'm really, if you think about it, I'm like a 5.5-year-old just stuck in this body.
And that's true with most brain injuries is they take that learning curve to come back to where they're at. You know, I use the example that my accident happened at 43, and I started over at birth at 43. Now, hopefully, I'll be back to being 43 by the time I'm 86. But hopefully, you learn not to make the same mistakes you made early on, and for you, you'll have hopefully will have learned from some of those mistakes you made.
Oh yeah.
So that you don't make the same one again.
I've learned. Wow. Okay.
Getting close to the bewitching hour, huh?
Yeah.
So
Do you have anything to talk about? I see you, bro.
Our monthly brain injury meeting this month is a pizza party for the Hamilton and Missoula groups. Will be at Stevensville at Fireside Inn on the 17th of April, 6:30. I don't know if this will be aired before then, but that's in April.
Okay.
And the Puzzle Club meets every Saturday morning in Paradise Falls at 9 a.m. And we always discuss the topic. You know, an example was everyday living strategies. We always talk about a different topic. So we just share a topic. There's no membership to join the Puzzle Club. There's no dues. It's no host. If you want coffee or breakfast, you come on down Saturday 9 a.m.
Coffee is free, by the way.
I always tell people I'll buy coffee, but occasionally I'll buy breakfast. But we have a good turnout. We get about 20 people a week show up every Saturday.
And then what about the one at St. Pat?
The St. Pat's meeting, our monthly meeting, meets the third Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. Commonly, we meet in Conference Room B and C at St. Pat's Hospital. Conference Room B and C at 6:30, the third Monday of each month.
Okay.
We have, in our monthly group, we have 1 month social, and next month we have educational. We have a whole variety of topics we talk about. We have neurologists, we have psychologists come in, we've had pharmacists come in and talk. We talk about supported employment, different employment options. We have a variety of topics we talk about.
Okay.
That's a monthly. We have a social 1 month and educational next month.
Okay, and by the way, if y'all want to see another one of these episodes, you can write me at 3018-3018 Rattlesnake Road, here in Missoula, and I don't know the zip code, some 802, and just write me and tell me you liked the show and you like to see it again. or yeah, just write me. And well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show.
Also,
now.
Montana Brain Injury has an annual brain injury conference in Kalispell this year, and that is October, I believe it's October 4th and 5th in Kalispell, but call the brain injury office here in Missoula if you have any questions.
And what's that gonna be?
It'll be in Kalispell.
No, I mean, what is it?
It's a state conference. We have several speakers coming in, several, like Dr. Now, I don't have his name in front of me now, but at our next meeting, we'll try to get that info for you.
Okay, sounds good. And well, I'm gonna be filming one of the support group meetings at St. Pat's, and I don't know if that will be this month or next month or whenever, but just be looking for that, and it will be under To Be Inspired, and just to look for a new show with Tyler Pelletier. I'm gonna have quite a few shows. It's cool over here, man. You can get, you pay a little bit of money and then you can get on TV and have as many shows you want for a whole year. But like right now, I just run out of stuff to say, so you've got to be like a producer, and you have to have everything written out and know what to come on and talk about, and that's why we had paperwork. And I know Jim, I invited Jim to be on because he would know what to talk about. And we're going to go ahead and end the show now. It was an